From Royal Communications Incorporated, a pleasant good morning and welcome to King's Newsroom, 45 minutes of news from Liberia and the rest of our one word. Today is Wednesday, October 29, 2025. My name is Cornelius Johnson, presenting this early morning edition of the program. Story top the headlines: House of Representatives summons Minister of Education, Finance, and the Civil Service Agency Director General over lack of employment of dozens of public school teachers across the country, demands explanation in the continuing prevalence of volunteer teachers. 6th Judicial Circuit Court of Mansarati County renders Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman guilty of criminal contempt, fines him $300 to be paid in 72 hours. Chinese investors Yang Dan accuses National Port Authority Managing Director Sekou Duclid of criminal behavior, says the NPA boss defrauded him of over $2 million of a mineral water company. And away from home, fears are mounting of mass killings in the key Sudanese city of El Fasher after the paramilitary rapid support forces captured it from government forces. A plane crash near Kenya's coast has killed 10 European tourists and a local pilot, officials have said. The news bulletin, voices of the newsmakers, are all packaged in this edition of the program. We take a very short break to be right back. The Ministers of Education and Finance, along with the Director General of the Civil Service Agency, have been summoned by the plenary of the House of Representatives following a communication submitted to plenary by River G County District 3 Representative Isaac Choliple Ward. Reports have indicated the continuing prevalence of volunteer teachers across Liberia, particularly in River G County, where most public school instructors reportedly work without government employment status. In the communication presented to plenary, Representative Cholo Play Wood described the lack of teachers in public school as an alarming situation affecting the education system. The summer officials will appear before plenary on Thursday, November 6, to explain the reasons or to explain the continuing prevalence of volunteer teachers across Liberia. Plenary decision was taken on Tuesday during the regular section of the third quarter of the second section of the 55th legislature. The River G County District 3 lawmaker communication also indicated the lack of teachers is detrimental to the right to education for citizens of River G County and by extension rural Liberia. He revealed that about 60% of public school teachers in the county are volunteers, with only a handful officially on the government of Liberia's payroll. The River G County lawmaker provided several examples to include Tatuken Public School, 9 teachers, including the principal; Walloblo Public School, 8 teachers, including the principal; Poroken Public School with 9 teachers, only 1 on payroll, currently on study leave in Harper; and Kowu Memorial Institute, 11 teachers, only 2 on payroll, and 9 volunteered, among others. He stressed that the widespread reliance on volunteer teachers discourages qualified educators and severely undermines the quality of education in rural areas. Representative Wu called on the government to take immediate steps to regularize the status of teachers and ensure fair compensation for their work. In another development, the Public Account Committee of the House of Representatives is reviewing a proposal for Nimba County District 7 Representative Musa ability to broaden the scope of the ongoing legislative audit ability was the legislative audit to include the years 2018 through 2021, noting that the current 2022 to 2024 timeframe falls short of the transparency the Liberian people deserve. In a strongly worded communication addressed to plenary, the Nimba District 7 lawmaker said limiting the audit to the last 3 years risks undermining the credibility of the process, especially given the House's decades-long absence of formal financial scrutiny. He stated that because of the House of Representatives has not undergone any formal audit for several decades, the years 2018 to 2021 are particularly important for any meaningful assessment of the House financial operations. Ability argued that omitting years will significantly undermine the credibility and completeness of the process. The representative emphasized that expanding the audit to cover 2018 through 2025 will not only bolster public trust but also reaffirm the legislature role as a guardian of good governance and fiscal accountability. The request comes amid growing public demand for transparency in government spending and heightened scrutiny of legislative operations. The House leadership has yet to respond to the petition, but the matter is expected to surface in upcoming plenary deliberations. Judge Peter Beniwele of the 6th Judicial Circuit Court in Mazuera County has found Liberia's Inspector General of Police Gregory Coleman guilty of criminal contempt for defying a lawful mandate. Judge Beniwele Tuesday ruled that Inspector General Colonel Gregory Coleman failed to appear before the court to explain his non-compliance with a previous order and act the judge described as an affront to the authority of the court and highly contentious. The judge, in his ruling, fined the police chief US $300 to be paid into government revenue within 72 hours. Failure to comply will trigger a right of arrest, placing Coleman in the custody of the sheriff. The ruling further directs the sheriff to serve mandates to the Ministry of Justice and the Supreme Court to enforce judgment in the civil case. Judge Beniwele emphasized that public officials must uphold the rule of law and comply swiftly with judicial actors. A Chinese investor identified as Yan Dan has accused the National Port Authority Managing Director Sekou Dukle of fraudulently deceiving and unlawful disposing him or dispossessing him of his multi-million-dollar mineral water company valued at over 2 million United States dollars. Speaking to journalists near the company's premises Tuesday in Pool River community along the Bombing Highway, Yang said police officers assigned to the premises allegedly acting under the directives of Dukle denied him access to the company's premises and facilities. According to him, this occurred despite an ongoing legal dispute between both parties currently before the court. The Chinese investor also accused the NPA boss of organizing an elaborate scam to misappropriate his investments through deception, intimidation, and abuse of power. He further alleged that Dukle is using his influence and official position to suppress justice and maintain control over the company. Meanwhile, Yang claims that the NPA managing director solicited millions of dollars from him to finance multiple joint ventures, including a mineral water bottling plant and a mining project, none of which was successfully completed. Yang noted contributing over 2.5 million towards the bottling plant and an additional 1 million United States dollars for mining licenses, making largest successor owner of the company. Yang also accuses Dukle associates of unlawfully seizing company assets, including heavy-duty equipment such as trucks and an excavator. The Liberian Senate has confirmed Samuel Steve Quia as Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, succeeding the late Sylvester Grispe. Minister Steve Quia will previously serve as Deputy Minister for State for Presidential or Administration, was appointed by President Joseph Boakai following the passing of Minister Grispe. He was appointed on September 7 with strict mandate to serve as Acting Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, pending Sunday's confirmation. However, on Tuesday, the Senate Committee on Executive unanimously voted to confirm him to serve as Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. At the same time, the Senate Committee on Judiciary has confirmed Liberia's National Bar Association President Councilor Bono Varma as chairperson of the Law Reform Commission during his appearance before the Senate Committee on Judiciary Friday. Councilor Varman pledged to modernize Liberia's legal system and make it more accessible, equitable, and responsive to the needs of all citizens. Councilor Varman expressed gratitude to President Joseph Boakai for nominating him and to the Senate for the opportunity to present his vision. He described the Law Reform Commission established in 2011 as a cornerstone of Liberia's legal framework, tasked with ensuring that national laws remain relevant and just. According to the president of the Liberia National Bar Association, law reform is not merely about changing words on paper, but rather about transforming the country's legal system into a responsive instrument for justice development and good governance. The LRC chairman designate emphasized five key focus areas to include comprehensive review of existing laws within the country. He vowed to lead a participatory review process to harmonize and modernize the country's legal codes in line with constitutional principles and international standards. Councillor Varman added that he will promote reforms and ensure fairness and inclusiveness in the justice system, particularly for marginalized groups such as women, children, and persons with disabilities. Montserrat County District Representative Smo Moaba has called on the government and members of the House of Representatives to support a proposed amendment to the Decent Work Act of 2015, which seeks to adjust the country's minimum wage to reflect current economic realities. In an open letter addressed to the government and the National Legislature, Representative Moaba protected the amendment against what he described as misleading claims from individuals he referred to as purported labor experts who have questioned the proposal's alignment with existing labor standards. Moba stated the 2015 Decent Work Act already established a foundation for labor standards such as minimum wages, stating that over the past decades, the Minimum Wage Board has not effectively addressed the role of salaries in shaping living conditions, and it has instead been viewed as a political tool by previous leaders. The proposed amendment focuses on Chapter 16.1 of the Act, which deals with minimum wage provisions. According to Mobile, the changes are designed to update these previous provisions to reflect current economic realities and minimize disparities while strengthening compliance mechanisms to hold employers accountable. The newly launched Liberian Alternative People's Party Vice President for Political Affairs has disclosed that the party is preparing to embark on its nationwide tour. Speaking to King's FN recently, Focus Wilson claimed that a critical review of other political parties' policies indicate that these political parties lack the willpower to liberate Liberians from poverty and unemployment. He noted that LAPP, as a political party, has drawn up a framework that will serve as the best alternative for Liberians. According to him, all political parties, including the government or the governing Unity Party, has massively failed Liberians and need to be trusted with state power. Wilson expressed confidence of the Liberian Alternative People's Party winning the 2029 general elections, noting that the party ensured inclusion during its governance of the state. Deputy Minister for Administration at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Johnny Tape, has defended President Joseph Boakai's constitutional authority to appoint and dismiss government officials. Speaking during MICA's regular press briefing Tuesday, Tape emphasized that the Liberian Constitution grants the president full discretion over the appointments and dismissals within the executive branch. According to him, critics have accused President Boakai of removing officials who allegedly refused to engage in corrupt practices. He dismissed the claims as unfounded, noting that the president has consistently taken actions against corruption rather than protecting aid. Tape said some of those people who are saying the president is dismissing his officials because they refuse to be corrupt. But this is the same president, according to him, who has been removing people for corruption-related issues. Tepid comments come amid a series of recent changes in government's leadership as President Joseph Boakai continues to restructure his administration. The executive director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Emmanuel Yuri Yapawolo, has described Liberia's mangrove ecosystem as a cornerstone of national heritage and community livelihoods. Speaking during the official launch of the Liberia National Mangrove Inventory report held in Monrovia, Dr. Yapawolo said the report is a landmark and first of its kind to provide a comprehensive scientific assessment of the country mangrove forest, detailing the condition of biodiversity and carbon storage potential. According to him, the Liberia National Mangrove Inventory Report is expected to guide future policy decisions on coastal protection, blue carbon research, and sustainable economic development. Dr. Yakpawulu explained that the initiative results from more than a year of collaborative work between the EPA and the National Mangrove Task Force, a coalition of government institutions, research organizations, and local communities, adding that the task force has been instrumental in mapping mangrove boundaries, documenting species diversity, and engaging residents in restoration and conservation efforts. Grand Bassa County Attorney Councilor Paul Javan is calling for an alternative dispute resolution aimed at decongesting Upper Buchanan Central Prison. According to him, the prison, originally built to host about 45 inmates, now hosts over 150. Speaking in an interview Tuesday, Councillor Javan confirmed public perception that the prison is seriously overcrowded, noting that minor cases that can be resettled through the alternative dispute resolution mechanisms are being used to hold people behind bars. Councillor Javan added that discussions are ongoing with judicial actors, including the residents and the Liberia National Police, to address the issue. Meanwhile, the county attorney disclosed that the Ministry of Justice and county leadership are concerned about the overcrowdedness challenge of the prison, which is not just unique to Grand Bassa County. A local educational non-profit organization, We Care Foundation, has launched 6 new anthology books for elementary schools with the aim of improving reading habits among young Liberians in Liberia or young students in the country. The books developed under the Teaching and Learning in Fragile Context project were officially introduced at the ceremony in Monrovia on Tuesday. Speaking during the event, the program manager of We Care Foundation, Yuvin Wia, said the project will foster a strong reading culture in Liberia's school system, particularly among elementary students. According to her, the issue of reading remains one of the major challenges in the education sector, but noted that with the introduction of these books, she expects to see significant improvement in students' reading skills. Also speaking, one of the leaders of the project network, Tonzia Zawuru, emphasized the importance of adequate infrastructure or institutional materials in strengthening the country's education system. He said there is a growing demand for teaching resources in schools across Liberia, especially in public institutions, in order to promote literacy with the reading materials. And the National Union of Organization for Disabled, Peter Flomo, has taken a firm stance regarding the recent protests by individuals living with disabilities at the executive mansion. Addressing a press conference on Tuesday, the UN's President Peter Flomo urged all parties involved to immediately halt actions that could lead or harm or misinterpret, emphasizing that such behaviors jeopardize the hard-won positive image and unity of the disabled community. Flomo did not shy away from condemning the excessive force used by the Liberia National Police against peaceful protesters, labeling it and as a violation of their rights. His firm stance highlights the urgent need for respect and dignity in the treatment of all individuals, particularly those advocating for their rights. The National Union of Organization for the Disabled urged the Liberian government to engage in constructive and inclusive dialogue with concerned parties. Flomo stressed that now is the time for collaboration and understanding rather than conflict to address the grievances of the disabled community effectively. The news bulletin. We take a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you the voices of the newsmakers. Indeed, if you just join us, a reminder you are in tune to King's Newsroom, 45 minutes of news from Liberia and the rest of our one word. Today is Wednesday, October 29, 2025. I'm Cornelius Johnson, anchoring one of our top stories this morning. House of Representatives summoned Ministers of Education, Finance, and the Civil Service Agency Director General over lack of employment of dozens of public school teachers across the country demands explanation in the continuing prevalence of volunteer teaching. Let's now bring you voices of the newsmakers. A Chinese investor identified as Yan Dan has accused the National Port Authority Managing Director Sekou Dugli of fraudulently deceiving and unlawful dispossessing him of his multi-million-dollar mineral water company value at over 2 million United States dollars. Speaking to journalists near the company's premises Tuesday in Po River community along the Bombing Highway, Yan said police officers assigned to the premises allegedly acting under the directives of Dukli deny him access to the company premises and facilities. According to him, this occurred despite an ongoing liquor dispute between both parties currently before the court.
Yes, but he hiding the criminal charge. He says it's a civil, but see, it's a civil case. I'm the major shareholders. Why they block me and hiding me operate the business by himself?
I'm asking you whether the court gave you a decision that you can no longer have access to this place as a major shareholder.
Everyone say yes. The lawyer, my consular said to me, I'm legal. I can see what's happening here, and I need to see the financial report and the bookkeeper. I know what's happening, what they do, they sell. I needed to choose. The Dugli, the case is simple, but the Dugli used my name is Yan Dan. They just blocked me outdoor, and they kicked me out from inside. Kicked me out several months ago. Until now, I didn't entry because he's personal security and the police. Okay, so I sue him is criminal because he cheating and he lying. He steal a lot of money from me, but he just talked to the investigator, say it's civil. It's a civil case. Okay, civil case. So civil case is fine. Okay, just I want to get the truth justice. It's okay. But why the civil case? He blocked me outdoor. It's criminal.
What he doing?
Yeah, he blocked me inside. Yeah, what he did. Good question. I don't know. Maybe use money. Good question. Thank you. I don't know where the police get the permission from. Maybe use the money. Maybe Dukli use the gangster and the money. Corruption to them. I don't know. That's what I need to ask everyone Liberia here. So how do we can hide the police block the door here? That's what my question also. Thank you. Because my English is not very real and the law is language. And my counselor say the Dugli use the money to corruption to someone important. So he always running, not straight away. He always running and hiding. See, Dugli didn't come. Even I come here, the Dugli never coming here. He used his brothers and his guys and the security block me. He never come to talk to me in the face to face because he can't answer my question. He can't give me the answers.
Meanwhile, Yang claims that the NPA managing director solicited millions of dollars from him to finance multiple joint ventures, including a mineral water bottling plant and a mining project, none of which were successfully completed. Yan noted contributing over 2.5 million United States dollars towards the bottling plant and an additional 1 million United States dollars for mining licenses, making largest social owner of the company.
So it's a simple story. So I come to invest in the country, and I put the single duplicate in the shareholders because he said he can help me a lot of things. The consultant in the country, but in the last year I saw he's a gangster. He's a mafia. He did a lot of criminal to me. He wanted, I think, for his mind, he wanted to buy everything from me, and he kicked me out from the water factory from my property several months ago in the middle of the night. He's a criminal. So see, same things. He put the police there. Yeah, police there. So police there, and his personal security blocked me also. Wow, I done a lot of jobs with him because I saw he was a good person, but no, I'm wrong. So he did a lot of dirty. He cheating me. He cheated me a lot of money for the mining. He do the mining license and everything, but he just used the money for his personal things. So when I know the true story, I just assume him. So maybe the investigator is do his job. But until the court statement, for now, I still can't enter the water factory. It's correct, right? Yeah, I'm the majority shareholders, right? Yeah, nobody can stop me. He put the security and the police here and block me inside. He hiding there and steal the water and steal a lot of water in the market, but never tell me nothing. Hide behind me. So how much? Put the investor 2.5 here, 2.5 million, build everything here.
He's a Chinese investor identified as Yan Dang. They're accusing the National Port Authority Managing Director Sekou Dukli of fraudulently deceiving and unlawfully dispossessing him of his multi-million dollars water bottling plant valued at over $2 million United States dollars. Still more developments. The newly launched Liberian Alternative People's Party vice president for political affairs has disclosed that the party is preparing to embark on its nationwide tour. Speaking on King's FM recently, Focus Wilson claimed that a critical review of other political parties' policies indicate that these political parties lack the willpower to liberate Liberians from poverty and unemployment. He noted that LAPP as a political party has drawn up a framework that will serve as the best alternative for Liberians.
We told her wise that it is important for us to exist in a democratic society where we have allowed and permit the competition of free ideas, the competition of political existence as a mankind. And to do that is to organize ourselves and brainstorm ideas, relevant ideas, to make the difference after a couple of years, decades upon decades, observing the political space within the republic. And we thought it was important for us to establish a political institution that could make the difference. And so it's just to make the difference in our political society, in our existence politically. We will be unearthing some of those political ideas which gave us the audacity to establish a political institution. Many people establish political institutions because they see other political institutions existing. And so they have no vision. Some people borrowed or they rented ideas from other political institutions that they use as a medium of establishing political entity. Some people have done it for monetization purposes or that was in the intention of establishing political institution. For us, from the Liberian Alternative People's Party, our objective is very clear. We establish the political institution from the sole purpose of competing ideas and making sure, if you look at the governance state of the republic, we have had different layers how we want to do it. There are fundamental flaws and errors since Joseph Jenkins Rabo time, even up to current. So, no breed of personalities, political pundits, have thought otherwise to do it differently. For example, J. Wisa Blambo, called the officer, establishing member of this political institution, thought otherwise to look at the various sector. Is that, look, we need to create an opportunity where we have government inclusion.
He's the vice chairman for political affairs of the newly launched Liberian Alternative People's Party, Focus Wilson. They're speaking on King's FM recently. Deputy Minister for Administration at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Johnny Tape, has defended President Joseph Boakar's constitutional authority to appoint and dismiss government officials. Speaking during Mika's regular press briefing Tuesday in Monrovia, Tape emphasized that the Liberian Constitution grants the president full discretion over appointments and dismissals within the executive branch. According to him, critics have accused President Boakar of removing officials who allegedly refused to engage in corrupt practices.
We are all aware that yesterday the president exercised one of his constitutional powers, and I want to read this. And this update is important because after the president's decision, there were varying views. Facebook, the internet broke loose in Liberia. Some were saying the president was wrong. Others were saying, for some of those people who said when the president appointed us that we're all corrupt people, there were those now saying, some of those that the president dismissed or allowed to go were not the good people. So government has taken a position and we want to come up to say this. But why was there all of the fuss yesterday? Some said the president had no right to fire certain people. But the Liberian Constitution, under Article 56A, gives the power to the president to allow government officials, especially cabinet ministers, the deputies and assistants, to serve at the pleasure of the president. Now, what does that mean? It means that, to put simply, the president can appoint you today. Today is Tuesday. On Saturday, the president can relieve you. He can relieve you, he can fire you without citing any cause, without citing any reason. And that is the reason why all of us, including me, will all serve at his pleasure. So I guess when he appointed us, nobody asked why he appointed a particular person. After he exercised his constitutional authority, we now see soothsayer all around the place. Just a few years back, no one had the audacity to fire anyone in government because they were preserving their own pepper bush. In fact, the policy statement that we heard at the time was, "Bile, grower, bile. When you die, by your water." Those were the policy statements. The government at the time was not bold enough to make a reshuffle even when an appointed official was being accused of something grave. Not only that this president has fired people or replaced people, he's also taking serious and staunch administrative decision intended to revamp this administration. He said that business will not be as usual. And so if he deems it necessary to reshuffle his cabinet, so be it.
He's the Deputy Minister for Administration at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Johnny Tape, there defending President Joseph Boakar's constitutional authority to appoint and dismiss government officials. He spoke yesterday at Mika regular press briefing. The Executive Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Emmanuel Yagbawolo, has described Liberia's mangrove ecosystem as a cornerstone of national heritage and community livelihoods. Speaking during the official launch of the Liberia National Mangrove Inventory Report held in Monrovia, Dr. Yagbawolo said the report is a landmark and first of its kind to provide a comprehensive scientific assessment of the country's mangrove forests, detailing the condition, biodiversity, and carbon storage potential. According to him, the Liberia National Mangrove Inventory Report is expected to guide future policy decisions on coastal protection, blue carbon research, and sustainable economic development.
Mangrove as national heritage, central to climate resilient community livelihoods and biodiversity. To implement this directive, the EPA established the National Wetland Task Force, bringing together key agencies and institutions to coordinate research, policy harmonization, and law enforcement for the protection of wetland nationwide. Over the past year, the EPA and the task force have worked tirelessly to map wetland boundaries, identify threat hotspots, and engage local communities in restoration activities. The National Mangrove Inventory we are gathering here will support these efforts. It provides for the first time real-time data on the extent, condition, and carbon storage potential of our mangrove forest, laying a solid scientific foundation for the economy, for the blue economy, planning and investment. We also celebrate our new elemental analyzer, a state-of-the-art instrument donated by the International Atomic Agency to Liberia. When installed and commissioned, this equipment will enable the EPA to analyze blue carbon content in soils, sediments, and organic matter with precision. It will be instrumental for the blue carbon research, macro data validation, and the development of our national carbon market readiness system. The result of this inventory will be beyond environmental science and they speak to economic transformation. Like our blue economic vision seek to harness our ocean, coasts, and rivers for sustainable growth, fisheries, tourism, and renewable energy.
He's the executive director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Emmanuel Yuri Yakpawulo. They're speaking. To this development now, Grand Bassa Council Attorney Councillor Paul Javan is calling for an urgent dispute resolution aimed at decongesting the Upper Buchanan Central Prison. According to him, the prison originally built to host about 45 inmates now holds over 150. Speaking in an interview Tuesday, Councillor Javan confirmed public perception that the prison is seriously overcrowded, noting that minor cases that can be settled through the alternative dispute resolution mechanisms have been used to hold people behind bars. Councillor Javan added that discussions are ongoing with judicial actors, including the residents and the Liberia National Police, to address the issue.
But the prison compound, the jail, is overcrowded. 156 as we stand. And you know that prison was built for about 45 persons or so because we were trying to avoid this sort of congestion where the prison would be overcrowded that could eventually lead to jailbreak. So we said, look, there are minor cases that is already come to a simple assault where parties agree, where parties come together and say, look, we are family members. We want to have this such matter resolved. You resolve this matter so that there can be, so that you can send people to jail that shouldn't have gone to jail. Because once you can reduce, you can carry out that alternative dispute resolution, it tends to reduce the number of persons that will go to jail. Then what you will be doing now, those who will be committing hardcore crimes, the drugs, the murder, armed robbery, those are the people that will be sent to jail so that they can get a day in court. What I was saying has come to reality. We need to reduce the number of persons within the prison. Those who have stayed there for a very long time, we need to reduce our prison.
And how can that be done? How is it happening?
I spoke to the judge, and I also spoke to the magistrate, to the judge of the circuit court. And we are trying to come up with a list of individuals who have been there, some for more than 200 days, some for a very lengthy period. We can make a list. Those hardcore criminals, those who are accused of committing hardcore crimes, will be there with prosecution. And then we see, we meet the police, we talk with the police and say, look, this is the list that is coming up. Do you have any record of these people? How serious are these people in terms of the commission of crimes in Bassa? But that you can read.
He's the County Attorney of Grand Bassa, Councillor Paul Javan, there calling for an urgent alternative dispute resolution aimed at decongesting the Upper Buchanan Central Prison. He spoke in an interview on Tuesday. Of the home front now, fears are mounting of mass killings in the key Sudanese city of El Fasher after the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces captured it from government forces. In an address on Monday evening, Sudan's military chief, General Abdel Fattah, said he had approved the withdrawal of troops in response to the systematic destruction and killings of civilians. The UN said there were credible reports of summary execution, while Yale University's Humanitarian Research Lab referred to satellite imagery of piles of bodies executed in mass. The RSF has denied accusations of killing civilians and targeting non-Arab ethnic groups, despite evidence presented by the UN and Human Rights Organization. And A plane crash near Kenya's coast has killed 10 European tourists and a local pilot, officials have said. The aircraft was carrying offline from the popular beach resort of Diani to an escape in the world's famous Masia Mara Game Park, where it went down at 5:50 local time, the Kenyan Civil Aviation Authority said. Mombasa Air Safari said the plane was carrying 8 Ugandans, 2 Germans, and a Kenyan pilot, all of whom have been killed in the crash. Its statement added that our primary focus now is on providing all possible support to the families affected. Well, that's all the time we have for this early morning edition of King's Newsroom. But just before we go, here are stories we closely follow in the headlines. House of Representatives summoned Ministers of Education, Finance, and Civil Service Agency Director General over lack of employment of dozens of public school teachers across the country demands explanation in the continuing prevalence of volunteer teaching. 6th Judicial Circuit Court of Matabele County renders Police Inspector General Colonel Gregory Coleman guilty of criminal contempt, fines him $300 to be paid in 72 hours. Chinese investors Yan Dan accuses National Port Authority Managing Director Sekou Dukli of criminal behavior, says the NPA boss defrauded him over $2 million of a mineral water bottling company. Away from home, fears are mounting of mass killings in the key Sudanese city of El Fasher after the paramilitary rapid support forces captured it from government forces. And a plane crash near Kenya's coast had killed 10 European tourists and a local pilot, officials have said. Many thanks to all of our contributors, editors, and reporters who helped in making this edition of King's Newsroom of Sources. For more news and information on the station, do join us at 1 p.m. this afternoon, or better still, at 6 p.m. for a fresh edition of the program. Many thanks to all of you for listening and watching. My name is Cornelius Johnson. Good morning.